Karen,
Yes.
remind me
Okay.
to stop saying.
Oh.
Yes. Remind me to finish my sentence before
Oh,
you.
okay. I was just going to say, remember.
No. Remind me to stop saying I don't believe in magic.
Okay.
Because the guest we have today just made my limiting beliefs pack their bags and move to Cleveland.
Oh.
Yep. You ever meet someone who makes you feel like your chakras are underachieving?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Well,
On a daily basis.
it just so happens I think we may have accidentally manifested today's guest.
Oh.
Either that or the universe finally decided that we are ready.
All right. I like the second plan, option B.
Yeah, the problem is I did not expect to question my entire reality today. But let me ask you something.
Oh, boy.
What if magic, real soul level, universe on your side kind of magic, is actually just waiting for us to believe it's possible?
That sounds perfect.
It does sound perfect, right?
That's perfect.
Well, today's guest, she's been there. She teaches it, and she's living proof that it works. This episode might just recalibrate your reality. We're going to be talking about shifting beliefs, unlocking your inner power, raising emotionally resilient humans, and maybe even discovering why our dreams keep dropping breadcrumbs at our feet. It's exciting stuff.
It is.
Karen, I don't want to say this episode might activate your magic, but this episode might just activate your magic.
Yay!
The Skeptic Metaphysicians starts now. My name is Will.
And I'm Karen.
And unlike Mulder and Scully,
we both want to believe.
so we've embarked on a journey of discovery.
We've talked to people deeply entrenched in the spiritual and metaphysical world.
We've thrown ourselves into weird and wonderful experiences. I even joined a coven of witches.
And wait, you joined a coven?
Yep, all in the interest of finding something
Anything.
that will prove that there's something beyond this physical,
three-dimensional world we all live in.
This is the Skeptic
Skeptic
Metaphysicians. Hey there, I'm Will.
And I'm Karen.
So, Karen.
Yes.
You know that what I'm most excited to speak to our guest about today?
No idea.
How do we, in our 30s...
Wow. So she's a time traveler.
Okay,
Love it.
Okay. How do we, in our 40s... All
Still
right.
loving it.
How do we in our 50s...
Speak for yourself.
How do we reclaim magic after life's responsibilities have made us practical?
I don't know.
Or our guest actually lives it. She doesn't just teach it. Get ready to be curious, to shift, and maybe even to see yourself in fresh new ways as we welcome Ashley Gonor to the show. Welcome, Ashley. How are you doing today?
Oh, thank you so much. You both are like a breath of fresh air, and just watching your chemistry makes my heart like feel so good that there's people out there that have these relationships and I'm sure this podcast has like been such a fun like aspect of your relationship. It's probably added so much humor and lightness to your life.
Absolutely, it sure has.
There's no question about it. We are loving doing the show specifically because we love doing it together. Sometimes Karen can't make it, so I'll have to do it on my own. That's nowhere near as fun.
Yeah.
Nowhere near as fun.
But it just comes through, it just, you bring that light, and it's, and when you see people that are doing something that's their like that they didn't realize was going to be their passion, but once they start doing it, they're like, oh, wow, this is amazing. But it just, your vibration is high when you're together, and it's just the chemistry that is I don't know, very attractive. Like you pull me in, especially when I listen to your episodes. It's just authenticity.
We need you around us all the time.
I know,
Ashley.
Right?
This is
Are you recording that, right?
If only there was a way to record the conversation.
Hit the button, yeah.
All right, we really appreciate that,
Yes, thank
Ashley.
you. It's very kind.
Now, let's start with the obvious, right? You've got this, the magic path. What exactly is it, and how did it first start revealing itself to you?
Can I start a little bit of kind of my background just so you understand it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Kind of lead into that. So in my life, I'm 56 years old and didn't get married till I was 36. Had my curls at 37 and 40. But before that, I was always a seeker, always Abraham Hicks, Wayne Dyer, Seth, all the Seth material, A Course in Miracles. I was at the Barnes and Noble all the time, just like knowing there's so much more. And I, even not knowing, where my path was leading. And I was one of those, now that I'm raising the girls and they're in their teenage years, and I was lost. I didn't have a direction. I had probably in my 20s, 30 jobs. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe we'll do this. I moved to San Diego. I lived in Seattle. I moved to Montana. It was just always, I was like trying to find I didn't have that intention.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that part of it was my path, because everything is always leading you to where you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I wanted to kind of lead into this, like my Raising Confidence and Magic path, and why I know my soul's purpose was all part of these breadcrumbs that I picked up along the way. And also like meeting Richard, like I started a day spa when I was 30 out of nothing. And it was like that moment that I started something where I knew that there's magic in life is when I trusted and surrendered, and I didn't have a clue of what to do.
Mm.
And so, long story short, I opened this day spa, and I think that's where I'm going to start uncovering my magic.
Mm-hmm.
Was when I opened a day spa with nothing. A lady was selling it, and I said, okay, I'm going to do something. Pay her money with the credit card. Had no money really. And ended up meeting her the day, and her place flooded. Then I said, okay, I'm going to open it up in this other suite that was twice her or three times her rent. The commercial real estate guy, my husband's in commercial real estate. So when I told him the story, he said no commercial real estate guy would let some little 30-year-old rent a space and had no business background. Like I ran a business, like entrepreneurs, little things along the way, but this is all the magic part, because I had full intention. So opened the spa with credit cards. There was no internet, so I don't know how people were coming to me and doing Reiki, breath work, sound healing, qigong. This is when I was 30.
Wow.
That's
So
like that's like my dream come true. That's exactly what I would love to open up.
Yeah.
Wow.
they were all coming. And I look back now at this, seeing how it all came. It was for a 5-year time in my life, but it then caught on fire. And it caught on fire after I had finally figured out how to get a little old couch and some candles at Pier 1 and like try to piece it all together and make it look like I knew what I was doing.
Right.
So I put it all together. It caught on fire. I knew it was for a reason. I knew the angels were on my team, and I knew they were this was for me, because I always believed that everything in my life was for me. Well, I had just bought a house up the street with no money down. So here I am I have a house and I bought it when you could buy it with no money down.
Yeah.
That was like in the 2001. It was like, I'm just going to buy a house. I just bought a spa with nothing. So why not buy a house? Right. So I had to shut down my spa.
Mm-hmm.
I hired a girl to sit in my house, and we brought the phones to that she was still answering, like pretending that we were at the spa. And I got to go, all my insurance money, because I had no money.
Mm-hmm.
I had insurance. So I got brand new equipment. I got to open, the guy had to gut the whole place. So I got like 3 new rooms that I could add more massages and facials, so I could bring more income in. And I got a new place. So when nothing, so I got money along these months of them renovating it.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone kept saying, don't quit, Ashley. I said, that wasn't even in my mind. I was just like, I am just going to keep moving forward. And
so, Ashley, I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt, but when you said it caught fire, like it literally caught on fire.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it like went gangbusters. I was like, oh yeah, it did a great job. But no, it actually caught on fire.
Yes, I got a call from the fire department. I heard the sirens, and I was at sushi with a friend, I said, oh my gosh, I have to go to the spa because there's a fire. And I literally had just bought that house with nothing. And I was like in this moment of like, okay, I've finally got a business. I have this house and now it's on fire.
Wow.
But I really can go back to that moment. And I know that where I was at that stage of my life, I know that this is for a higher reason. I know that was for me, for sure. Like that's my like motto in this house is to, especially raising the girls their whole life. Like, I wonder why that's for you. But that was one of my biggest examples
Yeah.
in your life where you think, oh my gosh, people would just shut down and say, forget it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been the last time I burned incense in that place. If it was
Yeah,
me.
it was a wax pot with one of those popsicle sticks.
Oh, yeah.
In the back. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So anyway, so that kind of started my understanding of knowing that, in your life that you pick the breadcrumbs up, you follow you surrender and trust and know that it's all leading you to what you're supposed to be doing. And I realized that at that part of my life. And and then I had a baby, sold the spa. Best thing, it was like this lady came into me and said, "You don't want to have a baby and a spa." And I
Sell it to me. I'll take it.
Okay.
Oh, no, not the spa, the baby, right?
Wait,
Yeah, right. So then I just started to become a mom, and I had all that background, and intentional parenting was I think the gift that I had to wait that long was my experience in life and in my 20s, and learning about how 0 to 7 for children is this big time of their life to be intentional and know that you're programming them. And every day, like, we started our gratitude when they were drawing stick figures in the car, and I just said, just find something to be just draw something. So that's kind of how I led up to I can stop there, but that's kind of what the last page is 19. But up until 2020, full-time always mom was my first priority. And I made that I was grateful that I was able to have that be my first time, my only thing that I focused on. And that intentional parenting, you don't realize it while you're planting seeds when they're little, but you keep planting and planting. And then all of a sudden they're teenagers and you're like, oh my gosh, it's growing, it's blooming. They listened. They're talking the way like you talked. Anyway.
Now, how did that come to you? How did you learn to be present or to surrender, to allow the universe to take you where you needed to go? Most of us are, no, if it's not this way, that can't work that way.
Yeah, kind of like what you were saying, the first reaction to the place burning down would be like, oh, great, one more thing, or why me, or forget it, I'm done.
So were your parents active in raising you consciously? No. So how you just were more connected?
I was more connected. And I look back now, knowing what I know, like just even interviewing for 5 years of people and going deep dive, and it's been such an amazing expansive experience. Understanding, like, we all come at a different phase in our soul's journey. And I look at my parents and know that I picked them for whatever, for this growth in this body, for this little fractal of my soul in this body. And I'm here to expand and transform and grow as much as I can. And I know I chose them for that reason. And so now when you realize that, you look back at your life and you say, okay, I always am like, change your story, change your life kind of person. I don't dwell in the victim mode. And it's hard for me when I have clients that talk about their story, and it's when they were, all these, and I understand that, and people have to work through that. But in my life, there's things that I looked back at and thought, that was for a reason. I had to, that they did that for me, that I had to learn that.
Yeah. So
then growing, and, I have people from, high school or something will say, I remember you used to tell me, you'd send me I am statements. And it's those kind of things that I don't think I was aware of that I was doing, but I was always listening. My dad had Wayne Dyer books. So that was always, when you believe it, you'll see it type books. I remember that being one of the first ones that he had on his shelf. But no, for the most part, I was the oldest child of 3 girls, and I was kind of the mom figure for everybody. I was very independent. And it's funny when you look back and see why you chose those parents, because it made me be super independent, it forced me to know what to do. And I look at my girls and I do I'm like, oh, I want to do something for them. But I'm like, oh, then you see, well, I had nothing. I had to figure it out on my own. So there's definitely a
I get that as well. It's very similar, we were the 80s, we were the latchkey kids,
yeah.
The feral generation. And we fended for ourselves. And half the stuff that we did, there's no way I would feel comfortable with her doing.
Right. Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah.
But we all survived and came out stronger.
Yeah, but I wonder how much of that was because we started so much earlier.
What do you mean?
Like we were latchkey kids from the time we were little.
7 and 8.
So if our daughter Sienna would now at 14, we say, okay, figure it out on your own. she might kind of waffle around a little bit.
That's kind of what's happening a little bit, yeah.
Unfortunately, but
she'll figure it
out.
Yeah, she will. Okay, so then those moments that led you from one step to the next, that taught you that everything was happening for you. Is that the kind of magic that you're talking about having people experience through that program?
Yes. So the podcast came in 2020 in a intuitive download. It just said you need to start a podcast. And that was in March.
And we should mention that your podcast is Uncover Your Magic.
Yes. And I will still remember the day that I had to figure out a name for the podcast because I didn't know who I was going to interview. I don't know why some God was telling me to do a podcast. I had no clue.
And it's a wonderful podcast, very well, highly regarded. You've been doing it for a while. I listen to it and I love it. So I think you were supposed to do it for me. No? Okay. Well, anyway, maybe.
For you and all the other people like
That's
you.
right.
Like me.
So, sorry, I interrupted you. But so you did the podcast?
Yeah. So the beginning of 2020, the girls were in 5th and 8th grade. And so I was deep in driving and, that was our routine. And I remember taking this like a little master class saying this woman was going to teach how to do a podcast in 6 weeks. And I signed up. And the next morning, Richard's like, you signed up for a class for a podcast? Like, you don't even have time to fold the clothes or, like before you go back to pick the girls up for school. And I said, I don't know. I just have this thing where I'm going to do this. And it was, you're going to start it and then you're not going to finish it. And I don't like to be that because I can see there's been truth in that while I was raising kids where I'd want to do something because I was very, loved entrepreneur stuff. And then I'm like, I can't, this is my responsibility. So it would kind of go in the background. So I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to prove him wrong. Well, like 2 days after that, when I didn't have a laptop, I had my phone because my laptop died. I never needed one anyway. I'd use the girls, when they were home if I needed it. And I knew I needed to have a laptop for this podcast class. So 2 days later, I get a call from the school and they said, you need to come pick up your children. We're in quarantine for 2 weeks. So I said, I have 2 weeks to use their computer to take this class. And now I can really go in deep. I don't have to be driving them back to school and, so I have time. So you know how that goes. It definitely was longer than 2 weeks. So I really dove in and just felt, this technical part of it was like, not my cup of tea. But I figured it out and started wondering who I was going to interview or who was going to show up and what I was going to call it. But I'm like, everyone has magic. Like we all have magic. I'm just going to uncover people's magic. So who cares who comes on? Because I know they'll have magic for me to uncover. Right?
I love that. That's awesome.
So it's so fun. I know you have like over 300 episodes already. I'm almost to 300, but I haven't missed a week. And I do it once every Tuesday, an episode goes out. But when I look at that journey and those almost 300 episodes, my growth, it's almost like writing a book. Because you can kind of see, like, I was interested in that. Like, and then I went to this thing and I'm like, now I'm into past life regressions. And then I'm into the aliens and, it just keeps adding on to where you are, like what lights you up. Cause that's kind of, if it's not a full body yes for me for a guest and I'm not ready to learn that, it doesn't even come into my awareness,
right.
Yeah.
As opposed to me where our show has been like, so first there's this, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this, and there's this. It's such a mess. It perfectly mirrors my mind, the way it works.
It's like a beautiful kaleidoscope.
It is.
Metaphysics.
Oh, look, a squirrel. Right. That's exactly.
Yeah, right.
But we've learned, like you, awful lot. And I would say,
And we've changed a lot too.
I would say we're not the same people we were when we first started the show, for sure.
Yeah. Isn't that fun to look back?
Absolutely. Now, you've worked with both teens and adults, right?
Yes.
Do you find that adults are just kids with more baggage, or are they a very specific, different entity that you have to deal with in a different way?
Yeah. I mean, you can say that. It was after the podcast started going, it was 2020 and all these people were reaching out, you need to help my kid. Because I was doing the first few episodes. The teacher was saying, just start doing solos. And I said, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. They said, well, what do people say you're good at? And I said, well, parenting. They're like, start talking about parenting. So I started talking the first 2 or 3 episodes, and I started getting Chicago, Florida, these parents saying, can you help my kid? Can you help my kid? Can you help my kid? And I'm like, really? And so then I had a line of kids coming to my dining room, and I was just teaching them what I taught, like my kids their whole life. That's all I was like, well, gratitude, intentions, compliments, all the little things, these tips that I could help them kind of go through this quarantine and not being at school. So then it was, can you help me as a parent? Because I don't know how to parent without the tool. I need you to help me know how to be at home when you're not on Zoom with my child, right? So at first I was going to do it for the parents. And then they were like, no, I want you to just do my kid. I don't care. And then they were like, now that my child is, being like creating this energy in our home, and it's changing our frequency, and my husband doesn't know what's happening, and breakfast is amazing. And, the morning ride to school is so different. We need to be on the same page, because our children are at this level now because what you've been teaching them. So then I started helping the parents, but there's this thing with when I say parenting, like why the parents are they're definitely at a different frequency than the children. And because of your daughter, like they come in this world when the vibration of the earth is completely different than when we were here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So they're already at a different place. And the parents have already done what their parents did, and they're on their little rabbit hole, or they're on their like hamster wheel. And, it's like they just think this is how it's supposed to be. Well, when they see that, especially for a 2020 experience, for having a child, and, this whole thing stops, everything, wow, like that's such a wake up call. My girls call it the best time of their life. So when I would start talking about that on the podcast, because that was the beginning, that's where people are like, your kids, I said, oh my gosh, this is the best time of their life. And they will still, if I interviewed them today, they would say that was the best time of our life.
Wow.
But it was because of how the tools, even at 5th and 8th grade, I had told them that everything is for you. So what is magic in this 2020 thing? Like, why are we not going to school? Why are we not going to practice? Why are we not going to all the things like, and let's find how exciting, like this is going to be like cool to find out why and what it's going to do for us.
Right.
So going back to the adults versus the kids, you can't just be, I know in a relationship, if you're not growing together, it kind of like there's some kind of off energy in a home. So it's like the parents needed to get on board, and they were the ones that came to me. And that was what was really neat, because they started seeing like, we don't come home and we're not in the 4 corners of the house. Now we're all together. And because I always would talk to the children about how important, like the phones. I'm a big phone police. And
put the phone down.
And at that time, the kids, that was all they had, is access to their phones or their computers for any kind of social, things, if they were old enough to have one. And my girls didn't have one. Maybe Paige had one at 8th grade. I'm sure she did, but Presley hadn't had one yet. So dealing with parents, watching how important it is for the interaction, and the children leading that after, and they're going, you're not going to play your video game? No, Ashley told me, like, we're going to be present and be in the moment and enjoy the family, dynamic versus, we all go to our I remember this. I had this whole entire family in Georgia. I did the husband, the mother, and the 2 children.
Mm-hmm.
The husband and wife were getting ready to get a divorce. And she was a realtor of my friend that I actually helped with that listened to the podcast. She's like, I think you should help my realtor with their family. So I ended up signing all the 4 family members up and individually working with each one on a Zoom call, but understanding, the dynamic of parenting
Mm-hmm.
and where they're at versus I don't know, it's like working as a team or seeing life in a different, it was so cool to see the light bulbs go off. And I'm thinking, gosh, if all the parents could get it
Mm-hmm.
and be in that place of being because they do what you do, not what you say, right?
Right.
So you have to be that example.
Right.
And when you and your husband are not being that example, that's all they know. So that's like, that's a preview of their life. I mean, it's like the magic wand, right? Well, see what Dad and I are doing? Well, guess what you're going to do unless you figure it out.
Right.
Yeah.
So then how does, because I'll be the first to admit I'm very much a do what I say, not what I do kind of father, as much as I hate to be that way. We talk all the time, don't be on your phone, and yet here we are always on our phone. If we're sitting in our living room together, we want her to be a part of the family, but yet we are working all the time on our laptops because we've got this new business. So how do we capture how do we capture that magic? Because in this day and age, when you're trying to make that 3D world work, we've heard all that everything's working for you, not to you. We buy all that stuff here intellectually, but it's a much more difficult thing to implement. And it sounds like you're much more adept at living it. So how does someone that is stuck in the intellect take the leap into making that be who they are as a person?
What comes to my mind first is really creating a routine, a morning routine, being intentional. And that is really one of the first things I teach in my classes, both parents and the children. And understanding how important it is to regulate your body, regulate your vibration, I always say, be the thermostat instead of trying to get to that next, start at 100. And then when you start your day, then everyone's going to go, well, what'd they do? Because I need to get to the 100. But if you start at 60 and you haven't done your whole thing before you started the day, it's going to take a lot of prep, a lot of effort to get to that 100.
Right.
So I've always shown the girls and I don't mean it like bragging, but that's so important to me to begin the day in that frequency and that vibration and that intention and the gratitude and whatever you can, even if it's 10 minutes, it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes, but even that little intention is with a family is showing that I care about how I show up in the world. I care about, who I am with my family and what I'm, like whatever's going on inside of you is basically your reality, right? You're okay. Well, if you're going to get in a fight, well, something's going on inside of you because you wouldn't have done anything negatively if you started at 100 and you did your 3-minute, whatever you did. But with families that are, that they say to do certain things, like don't be on your phone. And then the parents are, and their heads are down and they're not listening, or, you can go to many restaurants and watch the kids on the phone and the parents are doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh, like I am so in the present moment. And then I show the girls, I'm like, these days are going to be, we're not going to have these days. Like I'm already seeing that, Presley's a junior in high school and, now Paige is in college. Those days are over. Like, our everyday family dinners. It's like, and I knew that. And so I always, with my classes and my parents, and like, just remember, there's no regrets in parenting. Like, you don't want to have oh, I wish I was more present, or I wish we sat and had this amazing conversation at dinner. I wish we started our mornings with gratitude and, giving compliments and starting being that 100-degree mark on the thermostat. Those are the things that you can never take back, right? Like, in life, you always want to look back and go, oh, I'm so grateful that we were so intentional. We were the example, because they're basically going to repeat unless they have some awakening.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you handle a family where, you hear about it today, like with politics, one spouse is red, one spouse is blue, and it can create problems, or they can make it through. So we know that in this kind of more metaphysical, spiritual space, there are a lot of families where there's someone who's in the woo and someone who thinks it's a bunch of hoo-ha. So how would you help someone who wants to start, being this way more with their family when there's like maybe the mother or the father figure, like a big role that doesn't believe in this?
Yeah. So I'm so glad you asked that question, because Richard, when I met him, he's come a long way. It's not because I want him to come a long way. It's not because I've always said, I wish you were like me. It's not like I've said, you need to go read this book or take this class. Never. I have never done that. I've been who I am, and I know I'm on my journey, and I know he's on his journey. The girls have never seen us fight. And I will say to you, it's because, at the beginning of, when you have your first babies and it's like all this new stuff and you're like, oh my God, those were like tense times, right? Yeah. Where you're trying to figure out how to, handle these children and your marriage and, all the things. But let's say we get up to like 2020, just for an example, like leading up to that, I learned my whole life, like, knowing that we are together and that I have a family, that these girls are going to, once have a family too and have a husband, he's going to they picked him to be their dad. And I believe that. And they chose me. And, a lot of things had to happen before the grandparents, many things had to come together before we were going to be this family. And I just know that when I live my life in my woo-woo, and I've always done that, so he met me that way. So it wasn't that he could have turned his head and said, I'm Catholic, you need to come and kneel and do all these things. Well, that's just not who I am. I don't, if you want to, and I would go with you, but that's not my thing, right. But I would support that. So that's kind of how I look at, because the family that I mentioned earlier, Georgia, the husband was on a different page and the wife was too, but to bring it as a understanding that we all are on our own path. Our souls are we're all part of one. We're all connected, right? But when you realize like any trigger or anything is always within me, or when you're looking at each other and, oh, that's driving me crazy. Like, well, why is that? Because it has to be in me or it wouldn't drive me crazy. So having that awareness and having that, like, looking at it from a higher perspective and showing, like the girls would say, Mom, that would drive me crazy if Dad did that. Like, doesn't that drive you crazy? And I said, actually, it doesn't. Like, that's him, honey. Like, that's who he is. And and it's so nice to live that way. And I think a lot of dis-ease comes from that place of thinking that person has to be some way for me to be with them, or, I have to be in this, whatever situation in order for it to make me happy. No, that's kind of how, does that answer the question?
I think so. So it's kind of like you are living your life, and you have this person who might not necessarily believe the same things, but they see you living your life and the results of how you're living your life and how people are reacting to you and you're reacting to them, and a little bit of osmosis, and maybe he kind of softens the angles of the differences. Yeah,
it's like what she was talking about with the kids too. She's modeling. Yeah. And so eventually he sees, well, wow, look at this amazing person, and she's not getting triggered, and I want some of that. At least I know that's what's happened to me with you anyway. But it's such a great thought process. That's such a great way to live. But so much harder to actually do. You found your way there, but how can someone like me who wants to be there very badly, but is constantly losing sight of the ball, other than setting your morning routine, which I totally understand because I do the same thing. My morning routine is sacrosanct, and it throws me off completely, which is actually probably not good. If I get thrown off in my morning routine, it's probably not good, but it happens. So any tips that you can give for people to find their way to where you are at some point in the future? I know it takes some work, but
well, first of all, you've used hard, the words you use, right? That's your power. Your words create your life. Like, it's just, words are your wand. And I am the word police. And when you start talking about, I'm this kind of person, it's hard for me to do that. Okay, well, there you go.
So I'm creating my own reality.
Yes, you're creating your life with your words and your thoughts. So when you realize that, and you can start to, like, in this family, I don't know, Abraham Hicks, you used to listen to them?
Sure.
So in my before children time, I'm very sensitive to words and things people say. So if they're going to talk about their sadness or their illness or, their problems, I'm like, okay, well, there you go. Your wish is your command, whatever you want to say, those words that speak, right? So when you hear people speaking in this house, it's always at the beginning when the girls were little, I'd be, cancel it quick. Abraham Hicks used to say that.
Cancel.
Like, get it out, quit it, right. Stop the energy, because you're creating that.
Right.
So it's like being in a relationship, in a friendship, with being a parent and talking. I can see parents that say, words that are like depressing or whatever. And it's just like, that's what the kids are. It's like the energy, the thermostat goes from 100 to 0, like, and to have, it's just having an awareness, it's creating a muscle. And I think having that awareness and, in our lifetime, how we're, halfway there, whatever it is, unless we start having anti-aging and we're going to live till we're 200.
I mean, we are, aren't we?
Yeah. But, you think, I just was telling Will that I was at this seminar this weekend with all these amazing people that you've interviewed, and you're in that energy of speakers and energy healers and, light language and Daryl Anka with Bashar, all these people that you realize that the frequency of that experience is where you start your day. In the last 2 days, I came home, last night, and I start my day today. I realized, like, wow, like I look at when I'm on my walk with my dogs this morning, it's like, oh my gosh, it's like you realize how important that frequency is in your life and the vibration that you start with. But when you're in a group for a weekend retreat or whatever, you see it differently. So now you come out of it in your life and you're looking at it in a different perspective. But it's so important to realize that, am I staying with because people can go, like, I've gone to Tony Robbins, like in the day, and you get rah and you're all excited and you're ready to start the world on fire, and then you go home and you're like, oh, well, that was amazing there, but what am I going to do now? And
Right.
wah.
You hit the wall. Yeah.
But it's just that intention, that awareness, that if it's important enough to you, where that you're like, my family was, the girls, raising them with those mindset tools was so important. It was like, you can tell your values, right? Like I always say to the girls, in fact, part of raising confidence is learning your core values and understanding that the choices that you make, the decisions that you make in life are your core values. Like, okay, family is important. Health is important. Like all the things that I do reflect my 5 highest core values. So having the children we're all as a family understanding, they all change all the time, because you have a family. Now, obviously your family's first, or you're single and a relationship's first, or, but to understand that all your choices is all of, the source of where you're making your choice, of your core values. So it would be to me saying to a parent, well, gosh, I have to be on my phone and I'm on my laptop after work. It's hard for me to, be present. Well, then that's not your value. It's like that, show that in your face. Like, well, obviously I'm not enjoying the present moment. That's not a value of mine. So being clear as a family with everybody and what their values are. And then you understand, like with Richard, I don't think I've shown him how to do breath work. He's gone to some like sessions with me and he's open to that. He's gone to my retreats to see, but he doesn't participate, or he knows I do my meditation. He knows how important my automatic writing is, but he doesn't ask me that stuff because that's not in his, that's not important. That's not his value.
Yeah.
Well, do you think that your values can change? Like, can you, because what came to mind as you were talking about was, well, I think I need to write down exactly what it is I want to be important to me.
Right.
And then based on that, you work towards that maybe.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure. They all totally, they could change every season, every part of your life that, like health wise, right? Like health, if something happens to your health, that's going to be the top value.
For
like
sure.
I'm going to do everything to, then I put the family and the other things at the number 2 and 3,
Right.
or, but it's that awareness that you have, because when you make a choice, especially watching my girls, like making choices with friends or, being in college and having your independence and seeing, she's going to be making decisions on her own, but she's so aware and so strong in her values. It's been an amazing, she's our sophomore this year, but watching as a freshman, her making her choices and letting her free and letting, like, you have to, like, it was so hard, believe me. But it was like, okay, she's gone. She's only 20 minutes away. So I'm not like flying to see her. So I'm like, that's a pretty weak. But, when you see that they have listened and they've, you've planted the seeds, you've shown them how important values are, and where the values stand is where you make your choices from. The things that happened last year and what she'd made I can't even tell you. It could make me cry because it makes you realize like, what I planted and what I displayed for them, it just like full circle. Like it's amazing.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Okay. So I think we need a accountability thing here.
Oh boy.
Because my challenge, and I love that, my challenge is I live my life in the past. I have not been as successful as I want to be at living in the present and being aware of things that I'm saying, for example, because I was just about to do it again, right? So what I need you to do, Karen, is to call me out when you hear something like negative or that is creating the reality that we don't want, because it is important to me, but I don't find myself as present as I would like to be, as often as I would like to be. So I need you to help me with that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm on board.
Excellent. Thank you.
Now put the tech down.
Yes, no, that's exactly. So because it is very important. One of my core values is family. Spending time with family is very important to me. Not just family, but people. Connecting on a soul level with people is very important to me. And the times that I'm able to do it is amazing.
But I think, I'm going to cut you off for a second here. I think you are subconsciously keeping, those are still your values, because when you're working, it's because you want to support your family.
True.
So it's not that you're just not present. You're figuring out, because, this economy and jobs are crazy and all of this stuff.
True.
So I feel like it does take you away from us in the moment, but I just want you to give yourself some grace on that one. Because
thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. I think that though there is a happy medium I need to find.
Oh, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
That when it's time, when we're sitting in the living room watching a movie together or talking or we used to have dinner all the time together.
Yeah, we did.
And we've fallen out of that. I'd love to go back to that. Things like that. That's I want to be more.
That's great.
Intentional with stuff like that. So I need you to keep me on the side. So
thank you.
She'll send you her invoice later.
Yeah.
So, Ashley, every once in a while, when we have a great guest like you, we throw them some curveball questions just to have fun. Are you open to a couple of things?
Sure.
Worst case scenario, I just edit them out. So no worries. Don't feel like you're on the spot. But okay.
It's kind of fun. I've been on a few podcasts that do that, and it's fun because you get to see your intuition. You get to see that channeling, like what comes out first, and just trusting whatever, that to me is that challenge is fun.
So I have to get to that point because I'm afraid of what would come out of my mouth.
I'm afraid of what would come out of your mouth too.
All right. Here's the very first curveball question. Let's say that your soul had a slogan. What would Ashley Gonor's soul put on a bumper sticker?
Trust the process. Embrace the path. Like something about like just trust. Trust you're on the right path.
All right. One of my favorite books of all time is The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer.
Oh, me too. I love it. In fact, Richard read that. He did read that book.
Okay,
well, he listened to it.
Right. Okay. Hey, listen to it. Read it. Either way, it's a great book. I devoured that book, and that was really what it's about, right?
Yes.
Trusting and allowing the process and surrendering. And he, the whole time, his whole life, he just like you followed.
I know.
I
love it.
Followed the path. So I aspire to be like you and Michael Singer. Okay. You walk into a bookstore, and you see your own future self has written a book. What's the title and what's the first line?
Raising confident children. The first line is, what's coming to me is they do what you do, not what you say, explaining to that first sentence of pulling parents in on how important who you are and who you be in front of your children is. Like, I would like to start that. And I do want to write a book. And Paige and the girls just started writing a book. And Paige is going to write one on being a teenager with the parents. She wants me to help her with it, with the parents' perspective on how she was raised with me. But I think when parents, you don't realize confidence in children. I know you do because you have a daughter, and the word confidence is like a dream for you to have a child that's confident.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that word alone is like, if I could just drop my child off and know that they're confident enough in who they are, then I don't have that, worry of the bully, or, I know they can stand up for themselves and they have such strong self-worth. I think these days of social media and the pressure that these children have, and the way technology is it's like the all the things that are happening right now. This time of our life is so transformative. They need these tools, the confidence of themselves to know they're exactly where they're supposed to be, trusting their intuition, teaching them to follow the breadcrumbs and take the step. And if that, like if a sport or taking the viola, if that's pulling you and, then do it, because there's something in that soul. Like your daughter's probably done the violin and viola in other lifetimes where it's like, she's recognizing that that's her, it calls her, and you watch the girls along the way and the things they chose, the confidence in knowing that if they're choosing that, it's calling them, right? So who are we as parents to say, nope, I played soccer, so you better play soccer. And, I'm the dad that's going to be the coach, and you're going to have to be this way in this position. And the kid's like, wait, I just want to go play the piano.
And that's the hardest thing, right? To allow them to be who they are, because we have a certain idea in our minds. When she was little, she's going to wear this dress and she's going to go do it and she's going to do that. And then when suddenly she goes, I actually prefer to go this way.
Yeah, she's really into hard rock right now.
Yeah.
Oh, cute.
But she plays classical music on the viola. So I'm like, okay.
So maybe she can mix
There's a
it too.
balance.
Right?
Well-rounded. Well-rounded.
And you're so right about having her. I'm sure she did it in a past life, because she picks it up. She can pick up a song by ear, any song.
Like instantly. If she knows the song well in her head, she can just pick it up and start playing.
Wow.
It's wild.
Totally. She has done that for sure.
Okay. Last one, because I think some of these are going to be the same thing. This one's kind of close, but If your higher self could text you right now, what do you think the message would say?
Yeah, trust. Just keep picking up the breadcrumbs.
Right.
Never question anything. Always know that, that you are right where you're supposed to be.
Right.
And everything is for you. Even if at the moment you are telling, questioning, at the Y in the road, right? Like, do I go this way or this way? Trust that whatever your intuition is saying, go. If it's not the right thing, you're going to learn something and you're going to veer back to the left side. But it's part of this like little self, journey that we wanted to come to Earth, because Earth school is the hardest school and we're going to learn the most. And we're only here for this, barely any time. And I know time is doesn't even exist. But when you look at life like that and you can say, I can just trust knowing that I know in my soul that is leading me to my magic, and to look at life as every day. What magic? I mean, that the girls would have to come home every day and tell me their magic moment. My students still text me their magic moments, but that's wonderful. It's teaching them, like, it could be, I saw a rainbow, or I went to McDonald's, whatever, it doesn't matter, but it's them realizing like there's so much magic. There's like, that raises your vibration, right? To look around and say, oh my gosh, I saw a hummingbird today, Mom. And, oh, Mom, I got a butterfly. And I put an intention out there that I was going to see a butterfly. The girls do that still to this day. It's just their muscle,
Yeah.
Gosh,
that's great.
I love everything about that. Your podcast is called Uncover Your Magic, and you can find it everywhere that podcasts are served. If someone wanted to reach out to you to work with you, whether with their kids or themselves, to bring magic back into their lives, what's the best way for someone to reach out?
Email my name, Ashley, Gonor @gmail.com. Instagram and Facebook are all Ashley Gonor. They can DM me or...
Perfect.
All right. And we're also going to add a link to your website on our show notes so someone can visit that. If you need to do is go to skepticmetaphysician.com. You can go to her episode page and you'll see those links laid in there directly, so it's easy for you to connect with Ashley.
She's just a click away.
Ashley,
thank you.
Such a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for coming and reminding us of the importance of noticing the magic moments, because holy smokes, do we all need that in a very big way these days.
Yes, for sure.
Right.
Thank you. I loved it so much. It's so fun being on this side of the interview sometimes.
Well, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you again really soon, I'm sure.
Okay. Yes, you will. Thank you.
Take care.
And a huge thank you to you. We hope you've enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. If you did and you feel called to give back, we'd love for you to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or any other podcasting platform that supports them. Karen and I love hearing from those that are moved to message us. It truly does fuel our passion. You are the reason we do this show, and knowing what you like and don't like help us craft the very best show we can so that we can help raise the vibration of the planet together. Well, that's all for now. We will see you on the next episode of the Skeptic Metaphysicians. Until then, take care.